Muito boa noite a todas e a todos. Sejam muito bem-vindas e bem-vindos a mais esse evento do Instituto dos Advogados do Paraná. Temos hoje, nessa noite, a honra de receber o professor Sukhsimranjit Singh, que é reitor associado da Faculdade de Direito da Pepperdine University, que muito gentilmente comparece aqui ao Instituto dos Advogados do Paraná para este evento sobre desafios e horizontes à advocacia resolutiva. Esta mesa é também composta pelo professor Jair Gevaerd, que também é professor da Pepperdine University e é responsável por trazer o professor Singh ao Brasil nessa turnê que o professor tem feito conosco. Já passou por Brasília, São Paulo e está já há 2 dias em Curitiba, desfrutando desse tradicional e típico clima curitibano que vivemos nessa tarde. É o motivo pelo qual até justifico o pequeno atraso que tivemos para início dessa sessão. O acesso sempre fica um pouco prejudicado por conta da chuva. E temos a honra de contar também com a nossa diretora do Departamento de Mediação do Instituto dos Advogados do Paraná, professora Maria Cândida, Amaral Kroetz, também professora da Faculdade de Direito da IAP-PR, e com o nosso caríssimo doutor juiz do trabalho, doutor Fernando Hoffmann, que também é um dos responsáveis pela vinda do professor Singh a Curitiba. E o professor Singh, peço desculpas por iniciar essa abertura em português, mas pedindo agora licença para o nosso público presente, eu gostaria de fazer a saudação inicial ao professor Singh em inglês. E, Professor Singh, for us it is a real pleasure to receive you here at the Lawyers Institute of Paraná. We are one of the oldest legal institutions in the country and in the state of Paraná. We complete 107 years of existence in the month of June this year. So for us, it is always very important to be ahead of the leading legal issues in the world. And it is not different tonight when we received you, who is a renowned scholar at a very well-renowned institution, to share with us your experiences in dispute resolution and advocacy in this field. We would like to thank you very much for your participation with us this evening, and I would now like to call on Professor Jair Gevaerd so that he can present Professor Singh to our audience this evening. Thank you very much, Professor Singh. Thank you very much to all of those who composed this panel, and thank you very much to everyone who is here with us tonight.
Okay, so it doesn't need to be in English, right?
No.
I will just have this heavy accent of mine, so amigos, no, I'm joking. Meus amigos, é um prazer, é uma honra, é uma alegria estar aqui no Instituto, do qual eu sou membro há muitos anos. Cassiano, eu estou acertando os meus débitos com a tesouraria, porque já estou há alguns anos nos Estados Unidos, e não é brincadeira, enfim. Mas, e trazer o professor Singh, que hoje é uma personalidade internacional, um negociador, um líder global, tem sido procurado, e eu sou testemunha disso, inclusive enquanto estamos aqui, por governos de países que nós chamamos de primeiro mundo, não é? Para mediar circunstâncias muito sensíveis com populações e em contextos políticos extremamente significativos. O professor Singh, antes de estar na Pepperdine, ele esteve numa boa e muito reputada instituição. A propósito, o Pepperdine Strauss Institute, que é um instituto de resolução de disputas, já há 18 anos é líder primeiro lugar, normalmente, num ranking do US News, que é muito respeitado nos Estados Unidos, muitas vezes à frente de Harvard, mas ele foi professor na Hamline University, em Minnesota, que hoje é Hamline-Mitchell, uma importante universidade. Ele tem o seu curso de Direito, o seu LLM, o seu PhD na Universidade Nacional de Delhi, na Índia. E, entre outras coisas, é reconhecido, por exemplo, teve a iniciativa de criar um programa muito difícil, mas que hoje é muito bem sucedido, de treinamento para a polícia de Los Angeles. Não sei se vocês estão lembrados, mas em 1984, em 94, eu estava vivo naquele tempo, alguns de vocês não, mas houve um famoso episódio de Rodney King, e era conhecida a polícia de Los Angeles como uma das mais difíceis em termos de tratamento, assim, não muito carinhosa no tratamento dos meliantes locais, etc. E hoje é uma realidade completamente diferente. Além disso, ele tem participado de programas aqui no Brasil com a Justiça do Trabalho, etc. Portanto, para a minha pessoa especificamente, que leciono na Pepperdine já há algum tempo, sou um apaixonado pelo local, depois está fazendo um trabalho em Stanford como pesquisador visitante, acabei chegando na Pepperdine e hoje é a minha segunda casa. É uma grande honra e um grande prazer, espero que todos vocês possam aproveitar dessa palestra, porque a perspectiva, eu costumo dizer que se nós olharmos a mediação e a resolução de disputas nos Estados Unidos hoje, do Brasil, é como se nós estivéssemos olhando um túnel do tempo, porque há 40 anos, alguns pioneiros da Pepperdine, que a propósito tem 60 diferentes cursos no seu mestrado, eles iniciaram essa revolução silenciosa do ADR, da resolução de disputa, e os resultados são impressionantes. No estado da Califórnia, por exemplo, 95% das questões que entram na justiça, elas são resolvidas por mediação, depois de um determinado tempo. Então, eu acho que talvez seja importante para nós, advogados brasileiros, termos essa perspectiva, né, que vai ser dada pelo nosso professor Singh. Então, professor Singh, é uma honra termos o senhor aqui, e eu passo a palavra, ou melhor, Guilherme, devolva a você, vamos diretamente ao professor? Ok. Professor, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I'm so pleased and honored to be present here. Congratulations on joining a league of learning, a humility to learn and grow in the field of conflict resolution, mediation. I'm honored to be on this dais with some amazing men and women. Allow me to do a little bit of formality before I start with my formal lecture, if that's okay with you all. Thank you. First of all, I want to thank my elder brother, Jair Gevaerd. Professor Gevaerd is not just famous here in Curitiba and Brazil, but also in America. And I'm very honored to know him, and he's been a terrific host for me here in Curitiba. So I want to thank him and his family, Franco, Lucas, for taking care of me. And because of the love, I want to come back to Curitiba. And I'll come back with my family. Okay? So thank you, Professor. It's just been an honor to be here with you. Second person I want to thank is Judge Fernando Hoffmann, who is with us. And Judge Hoffmann, we are honored to have him as one of our alumni from Pepperdine. In fact, I don't think he was there much to learn. He learned a lot, but I don't think he needed to learn anything. He's already very smart, very hardworking, very honest person, and very humble. Smart, hardworking, honest, humble. These are difficult qualities to put together in one person. Hold on, the fifth one is very good looking, very dashing. Do you agree with me? Yeah? Okay?
Not really.
His wife is going to have a discussion with me afterwards. And Judge Hoffmann is the reason I'm in Brazil. When I talked to him that CPR competition might be something I would like to judge in Sao Paulo, within a few days, 48 hours, he arranged for my second visit to the Supreme Labor Tribunal in Brasilia. And it's been an honor to meet the president one more time there. In fact, we are planning to invite the president of Supreme Labor Tribunal and the incoming president to Pepperdine. So far, my English okay? Is it not too fast? Okay, thank you. Next person I want to thank, so thank you, Judge Hoffmann. It's truly an honor to be back to Brazil. And every time you call, I'm going to try to come. I want to thank the president of our association here, and forgive me for the first time to try the name, Guilherme Wokesi. President, I'm so honored to sitting next to you. And he looks very young and very animated and energetic, and I'm so happy. We need young leaders in this world. I think we sometimes have a bias for old age. In India, we also have a bias. But one thing I've learned from America, that I've got a lot of promotions at a young age. And I can tell you, I work hard. Sometimes I don't sleep at night, 2 hours sleep, 3 hours sleep. But I like to produce efficient results for my clients, for my students, and for my trainees. So I promise you today, I've got a lot of notes that I'm going to go through to give you some tips for your mediation future. President, very happy to have you. Thank you for having me here. Professor, thank you. Professor Maria Cândida, I'm honored with your presence. Professor is already very expert in all these fields, and I've requested her, when we don't know an answer to a question, we're going to seek her assistance and she will answer. So that is our agreement right now. Thank you, Professor, for being here. May I start with my formal?
Yes, please.
I want to give you a few remarks and then have the Honorable Dais interrupt me, ask me questions, and I'll be perfectly fine being interrupted. I want to start with 3 P's. P, letter P, like parrot. As a lawyer, first of all, as a mediator, as a conflict resolver, I have realized the importance of the first P, preparation. You want to be a good advocate for a client in a mediation. You want to be prepared well. And by preparation well, you have to listen to the client. You have to understand what the client's story is. You have to hear what he or she is saying and what he or she is not saying. All of them is important, right? So preparation. Number 2P, perseverance. If you want to be good in mediation, you need to persevere. You need to be hardworking. Perseverance is when the most difficult time comes in a mediation, you don't want to quit. To not quit, you need 2 things, just 2 things. Hopefulness, that I am hopeful that I can help. Hopefulness, to not quit. And number 2, creativity. I will talk about both of them. If you want to be a good mediator, I am appointed by India, I've been appointed by Canada, I've been appointed by City of Beverly Hills, appointed by other governments around the nation in America, like Oregon state government, to do mediation work. And when I'm in the most difficult part of mediation, when I feel like, how do I help as an international mediator to help clients, right? I'll tell you, I close my eyes for an instant and I believe, Sukhsimran, I call myself, you cannot leave them at this moment. You leave them 2 ways, internal and external. Let me explain. Internal, I tell myself, I cannot do it. That will be reflected externally through my body language, how I'm appearing. So the first belief you need is internal. I can help them resolve the conflict. It goes back to the second P, perseverance. I'm still on perseverance. If I tell myself internally I can help, then I can help them externally. Okay? If you want looking for one word, combining. If you combine hopefulness and creativity, there is still one word, motivation. Be motivated. Motivated to help someone. Motivated to go out and resolve the conflict. my dear friends, around the world, you don't even have to turn the TV on. Just look at your phones, and what you see is conflict. International conflict, religious conflict, identity-based conflict, conflict across race, class, regions, resources, health, politics, and power. All of these conflicts need a leader. If I leave you, and I want to be proud of you, then I want to see you at the global stage. The reason I am in Curitiba, and I'm in Sao Paulo, and I'm in Brasilia, is to help improve myself. The only way we improve is we leave our comfort. If you stay in your comfort, you don't improve. That was perseverance, hopefulness, and creativity, motivation, thinking globally, outside the box. Number 1P, preparation. Always prepare. Am I prepared for you today? 1 page here, 2 pages here, and if I run out, 20 pages here. Prepared. Do I need to prepare? No. I've been teaching, training for 19 years around the world. I've been to 65 plus countries, right? I can speak about this without preparing, but to deliver to you, heart to heart, mind to mind, you deserve my preparation. Just like that, your clients deserve your preparation. Perseverance, never give up. I mentioned 2 words in perseverance. Word 1, I mentioned hopeful, positivity. I can do it. If you are not positive, then how can the client be positive? You have passed the bar exam. You have went to law school. We did an oath, right? We did an oath. I will stand for justice. Which other profession on earth takes an oath and says, I will do justice? It's lawyers. When lawyers become judges, you take second oath, right? Mahatma Gandhi was a lawyer. Abraham Lincoln was a lawyer. All the best people you can think in the world have something to do with law. My father, Dr. Daljit Singh, who has taught me a lot, also a lawyer. And he used to tell me, go to law school because law school will make you confident. And it is one education where you can help others. You can truly help others. So preparation, perseverance. Under perseverance, I have hopefulness and creativity. Let me talk about creativity for just 2 minutes, if I may. 3 statements on creativity. Statement number 1, you will only be creative if you think it is necessity. If you think it is important. You will not be creative if you think, maybe not. I don't need to. No. Creativity demands necessity. If wearing a turban, wearing a beard, looking with brown skin, golden rustic brown skin. That was a joke. And being in America, if I can get cases from city governments, state governments, and I'll give you one secret, my friends, it is because I am creative. And I know I need to be creative to get the next big case, but to prepare for that case, to have a nice relationship with clients and all the stakeholders, to perform and to get them the results they deserve. All of those stages needs, deserves, desires creativity. So what is creativity? Creativity is thinking outside of normal norms. Thinking not the way you think, differently. How so? Quick example. Most of us are taught to do things certain way. Can I give an example? One example? Okay, if I ask you write your name, most of us will pick up our pen with right hand. We are dominant right hand. We will never think to pick up the pen with left hand. But when you go home, not now, I want you to pick up your pen with the non-dominant hand. If you're right-handed, pick up with left hand. If you're left-handed, pick up with right hand. But not just pick up the pen, write down your name. When you write down with your name with a non-dominant hand, you are using creative part of your mind. And see, if you feel difficulty, you will. Hold on, let's make it a little more difficult. Not only you use the non-dominant hand and write your name, you write your name backwards. So my name, last name, Singh. I start with H, G, N, I, S. Then you will feel the power of creativity. You can do it, but will take some effort. So when applying this to mediation, when you're in a mediating situation, most of us will think too difficult of a conflict. We don't think we can resolve a conflict. But it is not just positivity, it is you employing creativity, and you can resolve any conflict on earth. Combination of those two. But it is not just a necessity. Creativity demands, desires, motivation. Not just motivation and necessity. Creativity demands you thinking broadly. You thinking without norms. You thinking differently. You thinking, questioning. You become very curious. Genuinely curious. Can I say one word about listening now? You see, to be a good curious person, you listen. You want to connect with people, right? Listening. Now, to be a good listener, you have to give a part of yourself to somebody's story. You can only be a good listener if you create space in your mind for somebody else's presence. And that is very difficult because all of us is full here, right? Because we are paid to be full. We make money because we are full, to show confidence, to show how much I know. I'm showing you what I know. But to listen to you, I have to let go of what I know, have an easy, empty space, which is actually beautiful, which is beautiful. You know why? Because constant growth is what makes us better lawyers. I had a pleasure, a luxury to work with India's top constitutional law attorney, Sir P.P. Rao, who have demised now, is unfortunately not on earth. At that time, he was in his 70s, and I was a young man coming out of law school in my early 20s. I went to practice law with him. Preparation. He would spend 6 hours in his home office before the next big case next day. He knew everything about cases. The Supreme Court justices will ask him, Mr. Rao, would you brief us? What do you think how the law applies to this case? That's the authority he had. But he will prepare still. Perseverance. When he was needed, he will come prepared and he will not quit. He will stay in the court. I've seen him argue for 8 hours. 8 hours. When he was 75 years old. Perseverance. But what's the third P? Preparation, perseverance. What's the third P? I told you 3 Ps. Third one is performance. You have to deliver results. You want to be attorney mediator, you have to resolve cases. Now you may think, okay, Dr. Singh, I know I have to resolve cases, but give me more tip. I'll give you 3 tips. Number 1, you resolve cases by understanding what is it that the client, that both clients are looking for. And that changes from case to case. That needs to be employed: preparation, creativity, motivation, hopefulness, and hard work. Now, based on that, I'm going to deliver something to my clients. Look, I prepared a new lecture for you, right? I've given 5 lectures in Brazil. Look, they're all recorded. None of them used any of this. Maybe 1 or 2 things, but this is new. Why? This makes me creative. It made me prepare. Now I have a new lecture to deliver anywhere in the world. But I'm performing at the best level because when I give a new lecture, my eyes are open. I am alive. I am smiling, I'm enjoying it, and you deserve my presence. Just like that, in a mediation, in a negotiation, the client, both clients, the world, the states, the governments deserves your presence. And not just your physical presence, your intellectual presence, your emotional presence, your spiritual presence, your generosity. Lawyers are also givers. There was one study in America when national disaster struck. There are all these jokes on lawyers. We make money, yes. We suit up, we wear ties, yes. You know, we're rich, yes. Okay, good, we are rich. We like watches, yes, we like watches, big deal. Then what else are the joke? How about we were also one of the #1 donors when a society needed help? Nobody talks about that. How about when in politics you need a peacemaker, it's usually a lawyer. How about when the world needed a krantikari, a word from Hindi. Krantikari is revolutionary. The person who stand up is a lawyer. How about that? We forget. It's easy to laugh. It's difficult to accept that law changes the world. So in conclusion on this first point, I request you to perform at the best level. And my friends, you can only perform at the best level if you're prepared, you're hopeful, you're creative, you're hardworking, and you're motivated. Now, besides that, what else is performance? Your spiritual, your mental, your emotional presence, what else is performance? Performance is delivering the result, understanding the client. And the 2 words I want to give to you right now, if you forget everything else, remember these 2. Number 1 is flexibility. You need to be flexible in your mind to be a good mediator. Do not come with a pre-prepared plan that may or may not work. Be flexible. Yeah? Be flexible. And it takes time, it takes a lot of work to become flexible. It is very easy to be strict, to have regimented, borrowing from military, regiment routine. Wake up this time. Change your routines, be flexible. Our life is too short. Enjoy the flexibility. One thing I love about Brazil is Brazilians are flexible. First of all, your events start 1 hour late, which shows flexibility, right? But then this before the talk, I wanted water. And there was champagne, but I wanted water. Judge Hoffmann took a glass. Look, he's judge. He could have asked somebody. He found water tank, filled it up, quickly gave it to me. Flexibility. Today it was raining very hard. Professor Gevaerd was worried how to arrive here safely and everything. He's my host. He found somebody who drove us here. And throughout the drive, he said, be careful. We have a guest with us. Don't drive too. Flexibility. He changed. If I was not in the car, he may have said, let's go fast. But he was taking care of me. Flexibility. Flexibility is demonstration of you having confidence in your ability. Let me repeat. Flexibility is demonstration of you having confidence in your ability. That is flexibility. If you're not confident that you can do something, how can you be flexible? Right? So we are on what? Performance. Performance takes presence. Performance takes flexibility. What do you think is the third one? It's very important. I want to make you think. You have an answer?
No, I don't.
You do. You don't lie to me. Tell me. Anyone?
Time.
Time? I like that. Time is very good. Time is very good. Very good. I want to hear from one more person. What is the third one? Performance. How do we perform? Beautiful. Beautiful. Attention. Attention. Make someone feel like, and both are important. You're right, sir, too. And I'll combine time and attention. Let me do it. I had a chance to be with a presence of a spiritual guru in India. I've met many gurus. I'm very blessed in that sense. Really, I'm truly blessed. All of what you see here is not me. It's many people's blessings. And I'm honored, you know. And this gentleman blessed me on a stage in India. My father, who was very good with me, and I see Professor Gevaerd is very good with his sons, just like him. He took care of me. He took me to law conferences when I was 13 years old, 1-3. Big law conference, because he wanted to show me how lawyers speak. He was training me from a young age how to speak on a stage, right? He took me, and this spiritual guru is speaking at a law conference. I'm like, what is spirituality has to do with law? And he was only talking about two things: stress. Every lawyer has stress because our jobs are stressful. Yeah. Number two, how to still perform by being attentive. That's it. So I went up to this person, let's keep him nameless. In India, we touch feet when you like someone. Touched his feet. He blessed me. Yeah. He put his hand on my shoulder, blessing, right? So I touched his feet. We have a nice connection. I come off the stage and I tell my father, this guru gave me so much time. He said, okay. What do you mean? I said, he gave me 2 minutes, 3 minutes on the stage in front of everybody. And my father looks very confused. He says, no. And first of all, he says, thank you. No? Muito obrigado. Thank you, he says. Thank you for going on the stage. But no, this is not 3 minutes, my son. He says, 13 seconds. 13 seconds you were on the stage. And at that time, remember old camcorders, those movie cameras, you open up, small ones, Sony and Panasonic? And he had that. He opened it up, he showed me, played a video, 13 seconds. Be a lawyer. Listen, be a lawyer, be a leader. When you are with people, their time stops. They don't know they are with you for 13 seconds or 3 minutes. They feel like they have left, they have felt, they have lived, they have acquired, they have enjoyed eternity, even though they are with you for a few minutes. And that takes a lot of practice in attention, focus, and watching and making effective use of your time. And that, my friends, is performance. Yeah? Preparation, perseverance, performance. Under perseverance, creativity, hopefulness, hard work, motivation, never giving up, never quitting. Can I share one personal story, and then I'm going to stop? Last personal story, please. I don't know what's happening here. Maybe we have a FBI here now, finally. What is Dr. Singh saying in Curitiba? Let me listen. So, here you are, I'm here, I'm safe, everything okay. And I promised myself 22 years ago that I would like to speak in English at international stage. And I would speak without a speech impediment that I had, stuttering, stopping quite a bit. And today you can see I'm speaking mostly in okay English and mostly without stuttering. I still stutter, but you won't notice it. I've found ways to come over it. Creativity. I promise you today, as long as I live, I want to put a dent on global peace. Not for Sikh faith, not for Indian nation, not for America. Global peace. I believe we have the power, if you commit your mind to something, to change the world for better. I believe if we decide to give everything we have, our spirit, our energy, our mind, our body, our soul to something, we can change the world. And I invite you, Curitiba, to join me on this mission. I need more friends. I need global leaders. Please think bigger than Curitiba, bigger than Brazil, bigger than Sao Paulo, bigger than North America, bigger than Latin America, bigger than Asia. Global. We are global citizens now. If you are worried of what's happening in Middle East, if you are worried of what's happening in Syria or Kashmir or Russia or Ukraine, then, my friend, you are global citizen. And I want you to be the global citizen, because the next generation, our next lawyers, are looking up to us. And they are thinking only one question: are you the new lawyer? And the new lawyer is a global lawyer who is prepared, who has the perseverance, and who has the performance to work at the global stage. So will you join me? Will I see you at a global stage? Will you come to America? Would you come to Pepperdine? Will you come to my house and have a meal with my children and my wife? And if you do, I will salute you, and I will thank you, and I will tell you, muito obrigado. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Singh, for this most inspiring lecture. I was reminded in your speech, we have a professor here in Brazil, Professor José Roberto Castro Neves, who is from Rio de Janeiro, who wrote a book on how lawyers save the world, exactly on the point that you made with Gandhi and Abraham Lincoln in all of the stages of our most recent history. Those who impulsion change and transformation and revolutions were all lawyers. In the best sense, or even in the worst sense, lawyers have always been behind these major events. So it is very important for us to be on the side of good, on the side of world peace. And I would thank you very much for reminding us of that, which is always very, very important, but also in the essence of what it is we do as lawyers, not only in mediation, but even in adversarial context, for us to always be prepared, to persevere, and to perform at the highest level is very, very important. And I would like to thank you very much, Professor.
Can I add something?
Of course.
You reminded me of something beautiful. See, that's the problem with Mike. Once you start speaking, you want to... I have a belief that you know the truth. It's in front of you. It's in front of me. We intentionally ignore it. You know how you can perform at the best level. You know it. You know it will take time. You know it will take uncomfortableness. You know you may have to wake up at 4 a.m. You know you may have to write the next book that you're waiting for last 5 years to write. You know you may have to give a keynote in Sao Paulo or a keynote in Mexico, Mexico, or may have to give a keynote in Italia. You know that. And you know it's not going to be easy, but we ignore it. We go back to sleep with our eyes open. So I'm not going to say open your eyes. Your eyes are opened. But I'm going to say one thing. Your eyes are opened, but watch what's in front of you. Observe. You have the answers. If you have questions about what I have said about answers, ask me afterwards. I might give you.
Thank you very much, Professor. Eu vou abrir primeiro a palavra à professora Maria Cândida, depois a gente segue a sequência aqui na mesa. Muito obrigado, professora, pela sua participação, composição da mesa aqui conosco nessa noite. Com a palavra.
Obrigada, Guilherme. Saúdo a todos. Saúdo ao caríssimo amigo Jair Gevaerd, ao meu companheiro de tantas jornadas nessa batalha de alguma forma difundir as ADR. And good evening, Professor Singh. Thank you for this messianic talk. It was really inspiring, and we could feel the energy and your words, and I see it as a mission to bring world peace, and thank you for that. But I would like to kind of explore your presence here. We are in the middle of this audience of lawyers, and we would like to hear from you some tips. And the first thing is usually being a lawyer, when you have your first contact with a problem, of a conflict, you tend to think about the most obvious solution for the problem.
Most obvious.
Yes. And usually it's not the best solution for that case.
Beautiful.
Because
Absolutely.
you cannot understand completely which is the case for that person, or understand everything which is involved. And I would like to hear you about how to explore, how to understand which are the real goals or needs from the client.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Another question is something that happens when, especially in Brazil, we are very, addicted to jurisdiction. You always think about going to the judge, to the courts to solve your problems. And when you suggest or maybe try to tell your clients that there are other ways to solve the problem, sometimes as a lawyer you are seen as you're not such a good lawyer, or my case is not, he can't understand how strong my case is. And as a lawyer, your clients see you as a bad lawyer. And how could we introduce these new possibilities, these new techniques, and convince our clients in a culture that we are just have kind of one way to solve problems?
Beautiful.
Thank you.
What I can only expect great questions for you, Professor. I wish they were easy, but I appreciate the difficult questions. So let me tackle them both quickly and as effectively as I can. Number one, the question of solutions. How can you help a client think through different solutions? And the idea there is, have you understood the problem? First of all, when a client comes to you, any client, two clients or one client, the question is, have you understood them? A former US president once said, President Eisenhower, he said, to understand a problem, you have to expand a problem. Think with me. He didn't mean that you don't do problem solving, that you don't resolve, that you only work on the history. He didn't mean that. What he meant was, you have to expand all the dimensions of the problem to understand the problem. So the first thing we need as lawyers, as mediators, is patience. Is being with them as to where they are. Being with them as to where they are. Our mind is running at 100 kilometers per hour. We have law degrees, we have case files, we have international experience. They are stuck in a problem. They come to you at 10 kilometers per hour. And we tell them, come join me. We have to be with them as to where they are. Empathize with them. Understand their issue. That only can happen not just through being with them, but also by listening to them. Listening is key. Asking good questions. I'll give you 3 tips on listening, for example. I listened to Professor's very good question, and I'm answering right away. That's very important. To listen to her question, I wrote down some notes, right? You saw that? That's paying attention. And respecting her is a good question, writing down some notes. Listening has 2 components. It's an art and science. Science is me being curious, that I'm going to ask, keep my mind curious, engaged. Science. Repeat to Professor, Professor, thank you for the question. Is that the question? Clarification. Summarizing. Do I understand your question? That's the science piece. The art piece of listening is you being motivated to hear what she says. You paying attention, you being present, you creating a space in your mind and your heart for the question. You want to be a good lawyer, you have to have the art and the science of listening. One can only take you so far. You want to be a master lawyer, you have to have the art and the science and the soul. the soul is only one kind. Soul never takes, soul gives. I am not here to take anything, my friends. I'm here to give. When you change your mindset to the mindset of giving, you actually give, actually impact people, you touch people. I think as lawyers, we have taken quite a bit. Hence, humor about lawyers. I think it's time to give. It's time to show the world that we are also generous, that we also have families, that we are not single story. We're also wives, husbands, fathers, sons, global thinkers. So to answer your first question, this is what I would do: to listen, to engage, to be curious, and engage with both art and science, Professor. To answer your second question, in terms of, beautiful question about culture. You use the right word. How do I change the culture when people are stuck with jurisdiction? I will only take the a case to court. I will not mediate or negotiate or resolve. That's an excellent question, because Professor, what you raised here, I think, is the idea of a change in any culture. You see, we have national culture, organizational culture, individual culture, subculture, regional culture, right? There are multiple cultures around the world, but let's focus on organizational culture, because the question is for organization. To bring change in any organizational culture, it will take time. You will be resisted. Why? Watch me. Culture is like this, it's moving like this constantly. And when you try to bring change, you're trying to stop it, and you're trying to reverse it or do a different dimension. That's not easy, because it's moving, it's a momentum. The issue is momentum, right? Newton's first law, when the ball is moved in a similar direction with same energy, equal and opposite forces are required to stop it. So when something is running for 20 years, you can't just come in and say, stop, here is a new culture. You have to work with the culture. So it's an excellent question. I think the education needs to happen, Professor, at young schools, at high schools, at law schools, which teaches more problem-solving skills. I don't think we should call it just mediation, arbitration, negotiation. We should actually call it new lawyer. We should call it problem-solving. We should call it collaborative law. We should use more effective terminology and hire professors who understand it, like yourself, like the president here, or Professor Gevaerd, or Professor Hoffmann, to teach these new way of thinking. Because, Professor, ultimately what we are struggling with, and I'm done with this, so thank you for your patience with my long answer. What we're actually struggling with is a mindset. There's a good author in America, he's coming up really well, Adam Grant. He talks about fixed mindset and growth mindset. And whenever we get stuck within ourselves, we are fixed mindset. Oh my gosh, my water is almost done. What do I do? I can't think creatively and say, Professor Gevaerd, would you give me some more water? All you have to do is be flexible, as I told earlier, with your mindset. And that takes courage, that takes standing up, that takes humility, that takes failure, that takes persistence, that takes uncomfortableness, and that takes leadership, that takes hard work, Professor. So you're absolutely right, change of any culture is difficult. But these conversations, like we are starting here today, the fact you all showed up in this beautiful rainy weather at 8 p.m. in Curitiba. You know, in 8 p.m. in America, we sleep, right? Or 9 p.m. And in Curitiba, you're listening to me. So I thank you for that honor. But great question, Professor. Hope that was helpful.
Thank you.
And you know, Professor has a very nice watch on. Look at her watch. And she has a Mont Blanc pen. She's I like that. Thank you.
Muito obrigado, professora Cândida. Eu vou passar a palavra ao Dr. Fernando Hoffmann.
Boa noite, muito boa noite a todas e todos. Presidente Guilherme, quem eu conheço já há tanto tempo, obrigado por me receber aqui no Instituto dos Advogados.
Alegria.
Professor Singh, mais uma vez, juntos nessa jornada em defesa, né, e em promoção da ADR. Muito obrigado por estar em nossa casa efetivamente, né? Nós conseguimos, né, Jair? Trouxemos o professor Singh a Curitiba, ele já esteve em outros lugares e agora está aqui entre nós mesmos. E eu Professora Cândida, peço...
And I'm falling in love. And
professor Jair, muito obrigado pela generosidade também de compartilhar que o professor Singh estava vindo a Curitiba. Né, isso nos auxiliou aqui a percorrer uma verdadeira via crucis com o professor Singh, justamente para promover a resolução adequada de conflitos. Professora Cândida, obrigado, né, por mais uma vez estar ao nosso lado aqui também na defesa desse ideal. Eu não vou demorar muito, gostaria também de saudar a todas e todos na audiência, muitos amigos entusiastas da IDR. Professor Singh, I would like to address the same question about culture. You are a cross-cultural professor. You were my cross-cultural professor. And you know that here in Brazil we have the litigation culture.
yes.
So it's hard for a lawyer to negotiate because he's weak, you know. If I negotiate, I can be seen as a weak attorney. It's hard for a lawyer to engage in a mediation. Why do I need a mediator, a neutral? So I don't need a neutral. And here in Brazil, you know, we have more than 1,000 law schools, I think. We have more than 1 million lawyers. We have more than 3,000 labor judges. So you can see that we have a very effective litigation culture in Brazil. So what's the role of the attorney, the lawyer, and how lawyers can profit from negotiation and mediation? Because it's a regular question we have. How can I profit? Because I make money in litigation. How can I make money in negotiation and in mediation and in arbitration as well?
Thank
That's
you.
it, my friend. Thank you so much for being in Curitiba.
That's an excellent question, Judge Hoffmann. I wasn't expecting anything. And we did not pre-prepare on these questions, so just that you know. So I'm writing my answer as I'm listening, and I have an answer ready. But a brilliant question, Professor Dr. Hoffmann. I think, okay, so let's take a pause and think this idea of cross-cultural communication, cross-cultural understanding. First of all, lawyers have a culture. Culture is not hundreds of years old, thousands of years old, right? Lawyers have always been litigators in court fighting. So when you ask them to change, what happens is they create fear in them. That's a very important part, understanding the psychology. Negotiation is about psychology, right? It's all psychology. You see, you want to be a good negotiator? Understand the psychology of communication, of information sharing, and the psychology of what's not at the table. And you'll be a good negotiator. So we are negotiating with lawyers now to accept mediation, arbitration, negotiation, problem solving as a way of future. So we're negotiating with them. So we have to understand their psychology. Their psychology is, oh, if I take this case, first of all, it took me 3 years to get this case. It's a big case. Now, Dr. Hoffmann, Professor Gevaerd, Dr. Singh comes in and says, mediate this case. What if my income is gone? Let's be very clear. What is happening there is fear. Fear of losing income and fear of losing control. Control over what I've been taught for so many years, my skill set, and fear of client billing and all of that. So there's two fears going on, right? So the only way we can tackle fear is through awareness. There is no other way. Awareness that no, you may not lose money and you may not lose control. In fact, you can increase the number of cases you're handling, because if you have one big case with one big bank and you start mediating, you become a problem solver, then you may have 100 cases that you can work on at the same time. You could actually create a team. Somebody started large companies in America, mediation companies, with that thought. And they are very rich. Why? Because they create companies, they hire other mediators, and everybody's working, and it's getting full. 30 years ago, we had the same problem in America. Lawyers did not want to mediate because they had fear. Then we had awareness through education, through training. And one of the benefit of belonging to Strauss Institute, we were one of the first in the nation to start training lawyers and judges. Do you know we have trained more than 10,000 lawyers and judges in America in mediation through the Strauss Institute in the last 35 years, right? We have trained them in 12 plus countries, right? So let's come back. So the idea of Dr. Hoffmann's question is, how can I change the culture? Doctor, I think it starts with awareness, through education, through training, through changing the mindset, which takes time, but to also sharing opportunities. So we have to also now create some opportunities for lawyers by engaging in international organizations like IAM, International Academy of Mediators. CPR is already here. My younger brother, Franco Gevaerd, who's very kind, taping this event right now at my request for Pepperdine, is a member of CPR, Conflict Prevention Institute, based in New York. CBMA in Brazil, ICC, Paris, AAA, American Arbitration Association in New York, Singapore International Mediation Center, Indian Arbitration Institute. Keep thinking, there are so many institutions globally who should come to Brazil, and you should go to them to exchange ideas on how we can change. Lawyers are one stakeholder. Last comment. So Dr. Hoffmann, lawyers are one stakeholders. There are more stakeholders, judges. Not every judge is like yourself that are open to the idea of mediation. Some judges are like, what will happen to me? Maybe I'll lose my job. I worked so hard, now I am judge at this court, and you're saying go to mediation? Right. What happened to my training, my pension? So judges are another stakeholder. Clients, big stakeholder. If clients don't know what mediation is, then how can you sell it to them? It's difficult, right? Because they will ask what they know. If they don't know something, how will they ask for it? Fourth stakeholder, education system, legal system, law schools. They need to teach it. Fifth stakeholder, very big one, politicians or power, leaders in the country. They need to promote it through legislation, through parliament. So there are 5 stakeholders we should be thinking about, and all of them have to work together to bring the change. But I hope this quick answer was helpful. I feel that Professor Gevaerd has an answer. I see his movement, so let me look at him. Do you have an answer, Professor?
If I had, Professor, since it comes to making money, I would pretty much sell it and not give it for free. But by the way, well, I think that the more you incentivize the market, the more you will have the market, ready to pay you back by paying your fees and so on and so forth. This is the struggle that we have, right? Every day in the commissions and so on and so forth.
That's actually a great comment, thank you. Because in America, we realized, at least in the US, in California, for example, what one education we do is short training. Imagine, you're lawyers. So is educating the clients. Client can spend $1 million in litigation. If the same client pays Professor Gevaerd even $10,000 for a day, that's good money, right? $10,000 for a day, he or she is still saving money because they will not spend $1 million over 3 years in litigation. And that is the communication that is lacking, that awareness. So can I say something? I think we need 2 kinds of mindset. A mindset of generosity, kindness, compassion, listening, understanding, like Gandhi mindset. Then we need business mindset. And that's where Professor Gevaerd's point is important. Teaching lawyers and clients how this makes business sense. Because to deal with business community, you need to speak business language. To tell them how this can save you trillions of dollars. How to engage insurance industry to come to mediation. How to engage the top lawyers to tell them this can help you with your reputation. You will become a global thinker. So I hope this was helpful, Doctor, but great question. And thank you, Professor Gevaerd.
You're very welcome, Professor. Yeah. Okay.
Muito obrigado, Dr. Fernando. E eu passo a palavra para o professor Gevaerd.
Good, good. I'll try to do this in English first, just to give you a little break, my friend. I see how, hard you're working back there, and very competently as well. Thanks a lot, my friend. So, and afterwards, Professor, you can, of course, enlighten the audience as for your answer. But, Professor, they didn't see, what is happening pretty much when you come here, with this elegant outfit and everything. We might think that you came out of the shopping mall, maybe, right? But I've been there with him, right? And I know that he has been working for the last week, not to mention the last month and the years that preceded last month, pretty much in this 9 to 5, I would say 4 to 5, because at 4:30 in the morning, as you know, he's playing tennis with our Dean, Paul Karen, 24/7, every day, and only today, because he was at my house, teaching for 8 hours in a row, right? For the MLC, which is one of our best seller programs. And Professor Singh, could you please enlighten our friends how you switch, how you transition from teaching mediators, teaching judges that want to venture a new perspective, a new professional life, because that's what we have back there in the MLC, which is one of our best-selling products. 60% of those guys, they are from the bench. They come straight from the bench, they retired, and they begin to be mediators. So how you transition, you switch, you talk about very concrete techniques and skills, and here you talk about global things that are more accessible to all of us. So my suspicion, and maybe you could touch on this subject, is that Pepperdine, the place that we call home right now, is not only the #1 university back in the United States when it comes to conflict resolution in front of Harvard for the 18 years that passed, out of 21, and this is a huge thing, right? In Pepperdine, you have from faith-based mediation, passing through arbitration, international commercial arbitration. We have not pretty much 2 members of the restatement on international commercial arbitration, which is a very important pool of arbitrators. You have a mediation, you have, legal design, and so on and so forth. How much, Professor, this kind of environment makes easier for us to transition from, a class on legal design and to the global thing, right? And maybe help them understand, because just as a note for you on the subject, we have just in front of us here Valeria, who was the president of the Brazilian Bar Association Paraná Session Mediation Commission, and did a wonderful job. And we have Daniela as well. And we are beginning to breathe, we are beginning to create, to craft this environment, this ecosystem in which all kind of ADR animals like arbitration, mediation, early neutral evaluation, legal design, and so on, those animals are beginning to show up, right? I hope that they turn into dinosaurs and they will never get extinct. So that's my idea, my friend. So could you please enlighten our friends?
I can only try. That's a difficult question as well, but I don't think I understand exactly, but let me make an attempt and then go back to you, Professor, to see if I capture the question or the essence of the spirit behind what you're asking, which I think is a lot. We were in Africa 3.5 weeks ago, graduating a class. No, I'm wrong, forgive me, 4 weeks ago, graduating a class of Chief Justices of Africa, especially Chief Justice of Uganda, and the Minister of Justice of Uganda were our students. They did their Masters in Dispute Resolution at Pepperdine. And we were just there, and I went there to give a lecture, give a keynote, and give a graduation speech. Very honored. They were my students. And the Chief Justice of Uganda used a phrase, ADR. We call ADR alternative dispute resolution, appropriate dispute resolution. He said, no, ADR is African dispute resolution. What is Brazilian dispute resolution? I want to know that. Why are we running away from our culture, who we are? Portuguese is such a beautiful language, and I promise next time I come, I'll have better hold, at least a few more lines. The answer is three things: training, belief, and practice. You want to learn something, you have to take training. Training could be short course, like Professor Gevaerd mentioned, 5-day course, 10-day course, or 1 semester certificate program, or 1-year LLM program, or the MDR that the Ugandan judiciary did for 2 years. Any of that is training, but that takes comfort, uncomfortableness, that takes investment of your time and resources. But that investment, I always say, education is one investment that goes with you. You see, I'm wearing this ring, right? I removed the ring, I lost it. Gone? I don't have it, right? But can you take away my PhD? Can you take away my LLM? It goes with me. It is an investment. This is fake investment. That is a real investment. And not only you cannot take it away, it's in my mind besides a certificate. It says improved my skills. So training is very critical. Number 2, and this is training as well. Master class, if you may. Number 2, belief. If you don't believe in something, how can you sell it? I'm going to use the word sale. It's an important word. Let's not shy away. If I don't believe in this water bottle, if I say, oh, I think this is a good water, I think you should have it, versus I say, this is the best bottled water in the world, and you cannot get a more pure water than this, and I think you're thirsty, you should have it. You have to have a belief before you can tell someone. So the question I have is, do you believe in mediation? Do you believe in conflict resolution? And let me tell you why you should believe. There are only few fields in the world that have the power to change you as a person. You become a better human being when you become a mediator. That's why you should be a mediator. You're a doctor, you go home. You know, doctors wear white coat, right? You remove the coat, you remove your equipment, you're not a doctor. You're a mediator, you go home, you are still a mediator. You learn how to talk to your wife, your husband. How many of you think you can improve in your listening just to your spouse? Raise your hand. Come on, it's okay. It's okay. He's shy, he's getting there. All of us can, right? And number 3 is practice. You have to make an attempt. You will never be 100% ready. The biggest thing in practice is starting the book, starting the lecture, starting the thinking. We all underestimate the power of start. Once you start something, half of the battle is done. So I would say, to answer your brilliant question, Professor, I'm not even throwing if I'm doing justice to it, but I think to serve the humanity, to serve the bigger goal. So my energy is never depleted if it's changing me to become a better person. My energy is never depleted. It'll come. God will give me energy. People will give me energy. Society will give me energy. My ancestors will give me energy if what I'm doing is to serve society. And you know, I was attending a lecture. I won't mention this religion. It's not my religion. It's not Christianity, not Judaism. So it's another religion, beautiful religion, talks about peacemaking meditation. I was in New York attending a lecture by this monk. And this monk, the lecture title was How to Become Rich. So there's full hundreds of people. The secret of this lecture, you want to be rich? Start giving. That's the only way to become rich. When you give, you get more. As a teacher, I'm giving. I'm not just helping you, I'm helping myself. When I'm giving you my best, the next lecture I give, my best will be better. I'm not hiding anything back. So great question, Professor Gevaerd, and I've been blessed to have his presence all this week, and he invited me to Curitiba, and I'm so happy. One more time, you know, when you go to somebody's house, in my faith, in my culture, it is the biggest honor you can give to that person. Biggest honor is inviting them to your house. Curitiba is your house. Your bar association is your house. Your physical house, my friend, is your house. Your sons, your wife is your house. Thank you for bringing me to your house. Professor Hoffmann, I want to thank you for bringing me to Brazil. Your house is Brazil. He's bigger than Curitiba. You know him. He's on national TV. You know, I still think it's because he's good looking, and it's not because he's. But I have a suspicion he's also very smart. I think it's a combination of two things. He's doing webinars during COVID. Do you know how many webinars he did? More than 200 webinars. Every day he has something like this on, and he's sitting on his computer and is recording. And look at this, if you don't join him on LinkedIn, that's a sin. You have to join him on LinkedIn. You have to join Professor Gevaerd. And you have to join me. And if you go to my YouTube channel, you have to like my videos, okay? Thank you, Professor.
Very welcome. Thank you, Professor Singh. E agora, aproveitando, né, a presença do professor Singh essa noite, eu gostaria de deixar a palavra aberta, caso alguém da plenária queira fazer algum questionamento. Eu só peço que seja feito com o microfone para que ele possa ser captado na transmissão e também pelo pessoal da tradução simultânea, para que o professor Singh possa compreender. Fiquem à vontade de fazer as perguntas em português, se quiserem. Podem solicitar a Cassiana. Temos alguma pergunta? Por favor, muito obrigado.
Before anything, thank you, Dr. Singh, for this amazing masterclass, as you said, that you gave to us. Concerning the second P, right, the perseverance, after the lawyer, or in this case, the mediator, prepared, and after he's confident that he will perform, right, my question is really based on the idea of independence and neutrality, being that what is the role of the mediator or even the lawyer when he understands the issue, he has the motivation, he has the creativity to reach the end of the conflict, but the parties are not clicking yet, and you can force them to reach that goal. So I guess that will lead us to a fourth P, I guess, patience. But how can you exercise your role and not mandate the ending for the parties?
Good, very good question. What's your name?
Gabriel.
Gabriel, very good question. You look very young, but I appreciate your question. Two things. When you said you can't force a solution, I want you to think about that, and I want you to ask yourself, why can't you force? But let me go beyond that. There's a terrific book written by a couple of my colleagues, and the book title is Beyond Neutrality. And it makes a premise that we oversell impartiality, neutrality, that we buy very basic, we are not neutral. And then understanding that, and then moving on from there. Let's be honest, we are not neutral people. We are not human species, are not neutral. Having said that, my honest belief is we can reach the stage of neutrality. So let me answer that spiritually and then answer it business sense. Spiritually, the beauty of neutrality and impartiality is your mind is stress-free because there's no judgment, there's no assumption. And when you're stress-free, you're smiling. When you're stress-free, you have arrived, you're content. You belong to people. And when that happens, the joy of being present, patience you use, being present I use, perseverance, will carry you forward. The point I was making is never quit. Because when you hear difficulty, when you see difficulty, in life you usually have difficult and easy choice in any given situation. Difficult is uncomfortable, easy is comfortable. Now sometimes you should make easy and comfortable choice because you want to save energy. That's the only reason. And you want to do something you've done before. But sometimes you should make difficult and uneasy choice, uncomfortable, because that's the only way we can grow, only way to growth. So the idea you're raising here of impartiality is a good question, but I will challenge you to think. And you're young right now, I'm so appreciative you're here listening and engaging, and you were at CPR competition as well, I think. And you want to think about the idea of difficulty with yourself. Why can't I be impartial is my question. Let me take you further down that thinking, because I've thought about this earlier. What about multi-partiality? Let's say I'm partial towards you, but I'm also partial towards him. Does that make me better? What about the idea of partiality or impartiality in the moment? What does that mean? Watch me. In one moment in my mind, it's all about time and thought, right? Life is about time and thought. We're all becoming older. Sorry if you did not know, but we're all getting older at this we got older by 2 hours in the last 2 hours, by the way. But the idea that in my mind, a partial thought came, I like you, sir, more than I like you, sir, right? Even though you're wearing a very nice watch, I still like you more, right? Imagine that. That's a partial thought. I need to suspend it. I need to kill it. I need to go back to being present. I need to say, no, he's also a nice man, or I don't know him. So that thought, Sukhsimran, move it back. And that discussion with yourself, that check-in, that humility, that challenge, that change is possible. It takes effort. It takes practice. It takes training. The power is within you. You have to just realize it. My last comment on the business of all of this. So let's go back to the first question. You said you can't force agreements. I want to make you think about that. It's perfectly fine to force agreements. Sometimes you should force agreement for peace. I really wish right now somebody had forced an agreement on some of the world conflict. I would rather have 50,000 lives saved versus thinking, oh, agreement is only facilitative. Agreement is only if it comes from the parties. No. That's a limitation of our mind again. We got married to a thought. Nobody has told us that. Peace is the only win here. War is not win. Being married to one idea is the loss here. So that's why I'm challenging you. I questioned the whole idea of impartiality, but I also made you think about impartiality. And then I'm telling you, maybe you should not believe in impartiality, but I'm telling you still believe in impartiality. It's an enigma I'm purposefully, intentionally, because you're so young, leaving you with. Entertain the thought. The answer is within you. You have to find it. I'm not going to give it to you. Maybe it's one way or the other. Maybe it depends upon context. Maybe it's cross-cultural. Maybe it depends upon time of the day or time of the year or how long people have been in conflict. Maybe it is about the age of the parties, the gender of the parties. Maybe it is about your age. Are you too young or are you too old? Maybe it is about your title. Are you a retired judge or just an attorney? Maybe it's all about all the above. Good question. Any other questions? I am hungry right now. You know, anybody serving dinner here? You guys know if... oh, sorry, President is right here, right? I have seen some of you before. Can I say my Pepperdine connections? Can I say I want to thank people who have heard me before that you come back? You know, I don't think I'm that wise that you hear me twice, but I thank you for the trust you have showed in Pepperdine, in the Strauss Institute, in this excellent panel. I'm going to invite you to, first of all, not thank me, but I wouldn't be here without my friends on this panel. Can you please join me in thanking them? Can you please thank them? Yes? I have two homes. I have a home in India. When I say home, it's a bigger home in the sense my heart is there. But also we have a physical home in Punjab. My parents are there right now. And I have a home in LA, where my new family is, my wife and children are. And my mind is. You want to travel with my heart? Come visit India. You want to travel with my mind? Come visit Pepperdine, come visit LA. Either one of my amazing, amazing alumni, proud alumni. We are just blessed to have them as alumni. They already knew everything. They just came to get the experience and give us blessing. Either one of them can help you answer questions about Pepperdine. I will be very honored to host you there. But if you want to take a spiritual trip to India, let's go together. Because I know Brazilians love going to India. Don't lie to me. I have learned that. And you take meditation lessons, you're going. And I'm feeling a little jealous. I want to take you, go with you. From my side, if I made any mistake, that's my Indian mind speaking right now. In India, we seek forgiveness. Please forgive me. I did not come here to lecture, but I came here to share my life with you. And I look forward to seeing your soul on international stage. Thank you all. Thank you.
Professor Singh, once again, in the name of the Lawyers Institute of Paraná, I would like to thank you so very much for your presence here, for your, again, I have to say, very, very inspiring lecture. And as a very small and humble token of our appreciation, I would like to present you with a book that contains the history of the first centennial of our institution. We are building the second as we speak, and you are a part of our history. Thank you very much, Professor.
Thank you. I accept this on behalf of all of you, so thank you. Thank you. I have very small gifts. It's not as beautiful, but some writers in India have said that the biggest power they have is the power of a pen. That even if you take everything away from me, do not take my pen away, because pen can change the world. So we have small pens from Pepperdine as gifts to our amazing guest. President, a Pepperdine pen for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor.
Vice in the audience.
Okay, we have Vice President Adriana. May I know?
Surprise, surprise.
This is Professor.
She's been doing a great job here. Yeah.
So nice to meet you. So nice to meet you. Thank you. Thank you.
Maria Cândida, the professor that we have there.
I did not realize, Professor, you are president of the Lawyers Institute as well. So, Professor Maria, thank you for being here. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Judge Hoffmann already has a lot of Pepperdine merchandise, but still, he writes judgments and he needs a new pen. So, Judge Hoffmann, everyone, please. I have Lies Burgerstein as director of the Lawyers Institute. Oh, that's wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Then we have, he's not present, he couldn't be here.
Okay.
Andrew Gomez.
Okay. And I have Andrew Gomez, who is not here right now, but I want to leave this with you, President,
Of course,
if you can.
thank you.
Cassiana, she's the secretary.
Yes.
She's doing a great
Sasiana?
job. Cassiana.
Cassiana. Thank you. My apologies.
Thanks a lot,
Cassiana.
Cassiana. Daniela is the president of
That is easy. Finally, an easy name. Daniela. That's easy, right? Daniela.
the commission.
I want to share a little history about the hand gesture from India. The reason we do namaste or fold our hands is to show that I'm defenseless in front of you. Because if you fold your hands, you cannot attack. So the idea is to show humility, right? So I hope it's okay, because in India we don't kiss on the cheek, but we do this. And across genders, men are not supposed to touch women in some cultures in India, where I grew up. But you're supposed to do this. To respect the God in you, you do namaste. So namaste to all of you. Thank you. Thank you.
Namaste. Very good. Renovando, então, o meu agradecimento muito especial ao professor Singh, professor Gevaerd, professora Maria Cândida, professor Fernando Hoffmann, e a todos vocês que estiveram presentes aqui conosco essa noite. Tenho a honra de declarar encerrado este nosso evento. Uma boa noite a todas e a todos. Obrigado. Thank you so much, Professor Singh.
I passed.